This is an old one, but I think it's one just to kind of highlight as well. The Home Office is refusing to set up a Ukrainian-style visa scheme for Palestinians. We're going to read into this a bit more from Open Democracy, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from Open Democracy with the headline that the Home Office is refusing to set up a Ukrainian-style visa scheme for Palestinians. The government says it has no plan to waive fees or tests to help Palestinians reunite with families in the UK. So my first honest question is why? It's the first thing that came to my mind when I first heard about this story, and then a couple of things sprung to mind. Now this was on the 4th of January, so this is quite a while ago, guys. But I wanted to bring it back because I do think it's just a point to highlight, and we'll read into it in a moment. But I think there's a couple of reasons why I think that they haven't done it. So first and foremost, they're cold-hearted. Cold-hearted is the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this Conservative government, especially with the way the way that they talk about the rhetoric and the word language that they use when it comes to migrants is pretty abhorrent for people who are seeking refugees who are seeking sanctions. I think that's the first thing. So they don't have any heart or soul whatsoever. Is the first thing that comes to my mind. And the second thing is that. The second reason why I don't think they want to do it, and there will be that argument in the comment section. I wouldn't be surprised if people will argue that, well, we have one for Ukraine, we have one for Hong Kong. Why we don't have one for Palestinians? Well, the answer is they will say, well, we're full. We can't take any more in. We don't have any more space. That will be the argument that I'll hear quite a few lots from the comment section. And it's just like, well, what about those who have family ties there? Family connections there, because there are British citizens here of Palestinian who have Palestinian families there. So what about them? So do they not matter? Do they not care? Like, if that was your family and you were tied to them there, does that not matter? Like, that's kind of the thing here. Like, and it just doesn't sit right with me. I think there should be something set up. Do I think we should let all Palestinians in? No, of course not. That's not what I'm implying at all. Someone made a comment thinking that I wanted to let in not a million Palestinians, but a million immigrants come into the UK, and I never stated that in any of my videos. But I do believe that immigration and migration is normal. It's a normal part of life, guys, and we have to deal with it in one way or another. And if you're doing it in a safe and legal way, it won't be as bad. But it's not right, in my opinion, that families in the UK who have connections to those here in the Gaza who are suffering right now have no way of connecting with them, and the Home Office has no intention of doing anything for them. At least that's from the headline here. So the Home Office is refusing to set up a Ukrainian-style visa scheme to help Palestinians stranded in Gaza reunite with families in the UK. More than 25,000 people signed a parliamentary petition asking for the government to waive fees, salary thresholds and tests for Palestinians displaced by Israel's attacks on Gaza. But the Home Office rejected this request in December, saying it had no plans to introduce a bespoke arrangement for people arriving from the region. More than 22,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks. It's currently 32,000 at the time of this recording. On the Gaza Strip, since Hamas killed 1,200 people on the 7th of October, according to the figure from the Gaza Health Ministry, the United Nations estimates 1.9 million Palestinians in Gaza have been displaced. British nationals currently need to apply for visas for their Palestinian relatives through the existing family visa route if they wish to bring them to the UK. Only spouses, partners and children are eligible for visas through the scheme. Relatives such as grandparents, siblings or parents of adult children are not eligible in most cases. The Home Office charges £1,846 to apply to bring each family member to the UK, including dependents, and a further £1,560 healthcare surcharge for adults, or £1,175 for children. British nationals must also earn at least £18,600 to apply for a visa for a spouse or a partner, or £24,800 if they also have 2 children if they want to bring over. This minimum income requirement is set to rise to 29,000 in spring, and partners or spouses also need to prove their knowledge of the English language to get the visa. The government waived all fees, salary thresholds and language tests under the Ukraine Family Scheme, which was set up within the weeks of the Russians' invasion. The scheme allows people fleeing the war in Ukraine to join their families in the UK. It is free to apply for the Ukrainian Family Scheme, and eligible is extended to parents, grandparents, adults, offspring, siblings and their immediate family members. About 71,400 visas have been issued under the scheme so far. Announcing the scheme in the Commons, the former Health Secretary Priti Patel said at the time, "We are striking a blow for democracy and freedom against tyranny. Above all, we're doing the right by encouraging people of Ukraine. This will help British nationals and their families get out of Ukraine safely." So what's the difference here between Ukraine and Palestine people here, guys? What's the specific difference of what we are doing for Ukraine different for Palestine? What is the specific difference? Explain to me the difference between the two, guys. What's the difference here? We're doing it for Ukraine. So is it just because they're not? Is because Palestinians are not in Europe? Is it because they're of this nationality? Are we not discriminating here? Because that's what it looks like to me. It seems like discrimination here. Are they not in a war-torn conflict right now? Am I seeing something here wrong? Some British Palestinians have turned to fundraising in desperation to cover the fees needed to bring their relatives to safety. Hazal Luce, a PhD student in human rights law at St Andrews in Scotland, is fundraising £30,000 to pay for his visa and travel costs for her parents, one of whom has cancer, as well as her siblings and her children. On Christmas Day, my family had to evacuate again from the overcrowded house that they were staying at, responding to the Israel evacuation calls in Nusrat. They are currently staying at a tent on the street in Deir al-Balah in the cold of the winter. At the moment, their survival without food or shelter in Gaza is a very tangible threat on their lives, she wrote on the fundraiser. A group of 80 British Palestinian families wrote to the Foreign Secretary David Cameron in December asking him to consider setting up a similar scheme for Palestinians, the BBC had reported. While acknowledging the complexities of each conflict, it is disheartening for us as British citizens and UK residents to witness our disparity in the government's response, it said. A lack of a scheme for Palestinians, the letter says, stands in stark contrast to the swift and supportive actions taken in similar circumstances such as in the Ukrainian conflict. Palestinians in the UK are currently feeling a profound sense of abandonment and neglect, and as a result, it said. In response to the petition, the government says its approach must be considered in the round rather than the crisis-by-crisis basis. It also rejected a second petition signed by more than 16,000 people to create a bespoke immigration route for Palestinian children on the same grounds. So they're not even prepared to look at even children, guys. They're not even prepared to look at children. This is blatant hypocrisy is what this is, guys. It is hypocrisy that what's happening here, that we've created a safe route for Ukrainians, for our European neighbours who are suffering from war-torn atrocities at the hands of Russia and Vladimir Putin, and we strongly condemn that. And we're giving the Ukrainian people, if they want to come to the UK, free and fair access to it, about as comfortable as they possibly can for them. We have a similar schemes are in Hong Kong with obviously with things in Hong Kong as well for the people who are there. But for whatever reason, we don't want to do that with Palestinians, even though we have connections with certain Palestinian people in, specifically inside the Gaza Strip, shall we say, as well as those within the West Bank and whatnot. It's blatant discrimination and blatant hypocrisy that we do it for one nation when we're not doing it for another. Either we do it, for them who are in the same hole that Ukraine are, or we're no better. It doesn't sit right with me. Like, I'm very passionate, and I want to make this clear. I'm very passionately and care very much about the Ukrainian war and what's happening there, because I know people who are Ukrainian who are suffering and consistently worrying about their friends and relatives out there and what's happening with their homeland. So I do. That's why, if you people wonder why I always do a little short video, I will one day do a longer video on Ukraine. So I do care about what's happening there a little bit more personally than I do with Palestine and Ukraine, and that's not to say that I don't care. But the fact that we won't even look into any kind of visa schemes for Palestinians just seems pretty distasteful, and it doesn't feel right, considering we do it for Ukraine. So this is where I put the question to you guys in the comments section. What do you guys honestly think? I want you to explain what's without being what the difference is between setting up with having the Ukrainian style visa scheme that we have. What the difference between that and not having a visa scheme for the Palestinians? What is it? What is the difference that doesn't involve racism, discrimination on basis that they're different skin color, or they're from a different region? What is it? What is the difference here? What is the main reason, the main difference between the two here? If you can explain that, please let me know in the comment section down below, because there's no difference about this. Palestinians, I'm not talking about Hamas, I'm talking about Palestinians here. Palestinians are innocent Palestinians, and lots of them are dying. 32,000, that was the last time I've looked at the recording. 32,000. And some of them want to come to the UK, be with their relatives and so forth. Why do we not give them that? So let me know what you guys honestly think. If you can as well, hit the like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so other people are aware of this video. And hit the bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me and my work, you can do so by joining YouTube membership for as little as 99p. Or joining me on Patreon for exclusive content. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.